How about it for a guy who follows movies of all sorts? The big comic book movies, the weird subtitle movies, the bizarro dark horror films, the uplifting rom-coms, the TV series that go on season after season. He covers it all. The San Franciscan who writes for the Marina Times, he comes and goes on a rainbow. How about it for the great Michael Snyder, everyone?
Hey,
welcome, Michael.
Wait a minute. From here on in, I thought you knew. My name is Iron Rod Equity. I thought you knew that.
Smashed it with your iron rod.
Yes.
I know. Well, hey, it's not me, Mario. It is Michael Snyder, and I am broadcasting because Fast X is our lead review. I'm broadcasting from a Bay Area speedway, so if you hear cars rushing past, you know exactly why, okay?
All right. Okay, good. I love it. Yeah.
All right.
Fast X is the big movie.
It is. Batten down the hatches, start your engines, get ready to ride. Fast X is upon us.
Let's rock it, kid. Yeah.
Wait. Is that Fast 10? As in Fast Roman numeral 10, whatever you call it, it's the 10th movie in the billion-dollar Fast and the Furious franchise. Once the purview of street racing, and now it's all about massive heists, global threats from power-coveting villains, absurd action set pieces, and yes, with all the hunky stars and badass babes, it's ultimately, right? It's all about family. Or as primary star, primary star Vin Diesel might say, in the role of driver supremo and paterfamilias Dom Toretto, family. Yeah, more like family. So how
dare you insult the great Vin Diesel? Go ahead.
How is Fast X, Mark? Well, it's bigger than any previous installment with more outrageous stunts and insane CGI frenzy. There are more stars and returning Fasters and Furiousers and surprise cameos than ever before. I'd say it's everything but the kitchen sink, but even the kitchen sink makes a cameo appearance. I was like, whoa, it's the kitchen sink. And it's directed by Louis Leterrier, who has made, among other really cool movies, The Transporter with Jason Statham, a Fast and Furious mainstay. So how is Fast and Furious X, or whatever you want to call this thing? The story, such as it is a revenge plot as the never-before-seen son of a Brazilian gangster despot from Fast Five, I believe, has years later decided to get back at Dom and the rest of the Toretto family. You know, Dopey, Sneezy, Doc, Grumpy. Anyway, actually, I mean Dom's woman, Letty, played by Michelle Rodriguez, his cute little son, Dom's sister, Mia, played by Jordana Brewster.
Nobody likes her.
Yeah,
the hot
okay.
Becky Ramsey, played by Nathaniel Emmanuel, and the ones played by Tyrese Gibson, Sung Kang, and Chris Ludacris Bridges. Returning champions include, but are not limited to, Charlize Theron and Statham. Plus, you get a few
How
newbies.
many people in this movie?
That's the point. You get some newbies led by CIA agent Brie Larson, and this is my favorite. Rita Moreno shows up as the Toretto grandmother we've never seen before. 10 years.
Oh my God! Oh.
Anyway, so
that is great.
Oh my God!
Yeah, thank you.
The big bad, the super manipulator behind the fiendish plot to rid the world of Torettos.
Joe Box and Little Anthony.
No, are they, Joe Box and Little Anthony are not in the movie. Who's the? I'm sorry, the big.
I'm getting to that. This guy is played by Jason Momoa, Aquaman, Khal Drogo himself.
He's a bad guy here.
Yeah. So how is it? Well, it's 2 hours and 22 minutes long, and it was made at a cost of, Mark, get ready, I know you love the numbers, $340 million.
Wow.
There's never been anything like this.
Well, yeah.
That was just to pay for Vin Diesel's skull polish. Anyway, no, I'm kidding.
How dare you insult Vin Diesel twice now?
The money's all up on the screen, like for a literally bombastic sequence that was shot in Rome with a giant spherical bomb that looks like it was made by Acme Incorporated for Wile E. Coyote.
Bombastic's a ding word. Yeah.
Anyway, So Dom and company try to stop it as it tries to wreck the Eternal City, and Momoa's Dante character is chuckling away. So how is it? How is Fast X? You want my review? It's truly craptastic. The WGA strike is clearly too late since this was obviously written by AI. I mean, it's less realistic than Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like a cartoon where a mallet squashes Daffy Duck, but he bounces back to full size after wheezing like an accordion. In this analogy, by the way, Vin Diesel is Daffy. Anyway, I was entertained, like going on one of those free fall rides at Six Flags. The ridiculously over-the-top Jason Momoa is the best thing about it. It seems like he's channeling Heath Ledger's Joker, although, it's downright ludicrous, as in more ludicrous than Ludacris, who's in the movie. Anyway, at the end, there are multiple cliffhangers, Mark. This was just part one. I'm not kidding. So get ready for Fast X2 or Fast 11 or Fast X. Go watch Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
There is no stopping it, though, right? I mean, it almost doesn't matter. It's going to do huge business.
It is. It's so absurd, and yet, I mean, was I entertained? I was. Again, this was one of those movies where you could hear my eyes rolling throughout the entire film.
Wow. So you say you're entertained, but you blast the movie. What is it?
Yeah, because it's sheer idiocy, Mark.
Okay.
Things happen that defy all the laws of physics, and yet these are humans. They're not aliens flying around in a Marvel movie. You're like, what? Anyway. All right, moving on.
There's never been anything like this.
Oh, my God.
To a better film. Writer-director Paul Schrader has been making movies for decades, and he's been making great ones. He wrote Taxi Driver, co-wrote Raging Bull, wrote and directed Blue Collar and American Gigolo, and at 76 years old, he's still getting it done. His last few movies, especially First Reformed and The Card Counter, have been among his best, and now we have Master Gardener, which may not be up to First Reformed, but still impressed me with the slow burn. It's a fascinating look at the complexities of redemption after heinous sin. Joel Edgerton is fantastic as Narvel Roth, the Master Gardener of the title. Thorough, meticulous, a southern Louisiana-based horticultural expert with a team of able helpers who can transform a patch of weeds into a lush floral paradise in short order. They are in the employ of Mrs. Haverhill, a wealthy lady played with relish by Sigourney Weaver. Mrs. Haverhill's relationship with Narvel is kind of prickly, and made more so when she asks him to let her wayward great niece Maya, played by Quintessa Swindell, work as his apprentice. All three of them have secrets that will eventually surface. The situation gets pretty heated, and the whole deal stuck with me for days after seeing it. Edgerton as the gardener digs deep and turns up one of his best performances, but the real master here is Schrader. Master Gardener is in theaters.
I love Edgerton, so that's great. And Schrader, as you say, is just a terrific pedigree. Wow. All right. He likes Master Gardener. So maybe do a flyover on Fast X and land at Master Gardener.
My favorite new movie this week, though, I liked it more than Master Gardener. One of my favorites this year is Sanctuary, a two-hander that seduces you, messes with you, and keeps you guessing throughout. It zigs when you expect it to zag, and it never fails to grip you as you watch two people play a game of cat and mouse in a hotel room over the course of one night. So Christopher Abbott, probably best known as the douchey, preppy boyfriend of Allison Williams' character on HBO's Girls, plays Hal, a young captain of industry, or he will be soon since he's slated to take over the family corporation after father's death. Margaret Qualley, so impressive as one of Charlie Manson's girls in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and as the manipulative good time girl in the recent South American war zone romance Stars at Noon, plays Rebecca, a strong-willed woman who shows up at Hal's room for what appears to be some serious business. But what's her real agenda and what is his? As their masks are dropped, we think we know until we don't. What develops in Sanctuary is something romantic and sexy and scary and unexpected. It's a thriller. It's a rom-com. It's a psychological drama. It is all that and more, buddy. Quali, by the way, happens to be the daughter of Andy McDowell. Yeah, she's a Nepo baby. I have wanted to actually use the term for a while now. Anyway, she's a Nepo baby.
But she didn't use the name McDowell.
Yeah, she didn't.
So give her credit.
Care. She's great. Yeah. She's a better actress than Mom. And Abbott is terrific here. Their chemistry is like off the charts. Well-deserved kudos to director Micah Bloomberg and screenwriter Pavel Burian. I loved Sanctuary. Can you tell? Highly recommended, but it's intense. You'll need to remember your safe word if you watch it. Sanctuary is in theater.
Wow. Sounds like there's a lot going on. Love it. Love it. You want to hit us with one more real quick before we wrap up?
I can do it. I can bang one out. Something that's sat on the back burner for a couple weeks. It's called R.M.N. It's the smart, sensitive Romanian filmmaker, Christian Mungo, who did 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days. He's at the helm, and he's made a scathing and sometimes brutally witty movie about xenophobia and class division in a small, contemporary Transylvanian town. No vampires, unless you consider, the people taking advantage of immigrant workers.
Xenophobia is a dinger. Go ahead,
the plot kicks into gear when a local man who has been working in Germany screws up on the job and has to return home to the village where his estranged wife still lives with their young son. Our anti-hero does get to reunite with his ex-lover in town, but things are less than ideal there as the economy's in free fall. High-paying jobs are non-existent, and the immigrant workers who are willing to take on minimum wage gigs are, shall we say, darker-skinned, generating discontent and flat-out bigotry from a vocal part of the white community, who also express a disdain for the Romani or gypsies in the area. Not white enough, I guess. As the situation worsens in a lot of different ways, the scapegoating threatens to escalate into violent reprisals. R.M.N. is a lean and pointed take and takedown of something that has become all too familiar in the U.S., hatred of the other. And it delivers a punch that targets those guilty of divisive behavior and lays out the tragedy that can result. It's not, a lesson. You're not going to school here. It's a great movie, but it does have that message, and it packs a punch.
Wow. Derisive is a ding word.
It's in theaters and probably soon to be available on streaming. R.M.N. Highly recommended, but Sanctuary was my favorite.
Yeah, R.M.N. You just heard it. It's there's a lot going on. He really liked it. Sanctuary he loved. It's the zig and the zag. That's all zagging and zigging when you think there's going to be zigging and there's zagging. It takes you across all kinds of zigs and zags, and it's sexy and twisted. Christopher Abbott, Margaret Qualley, Andy McDowell's daughter. Master Gardener from Paul Schrader he liked, with Edgerton, and great performances. But the real standout work of the great Paul Schrader, he says, is again standout, although not quite as standoutish as some of his other offerings. Still very, very strong. Very happy with it. And Fast X, the bloated movie that sounds like everyone in Hollywood at least had 1 or 2 days of a shoot on it. Michael says it's crazy. It's a waste of a script because there's not much script there, but oddly, it's a ride.
Craptastic, I believe, was what he said.
Yes, craptastic was the ding word that we didn't ding at the time. Craptastic is, I'm looking for that on a movie poster near me, Michael. I think that's a great way to describe it.
Well done, Mark Cliff's Notes Thompson. You did a great job there.
We love having you here. Have a great, great week. Michael, thank you for taking time out of your Friday always to be with us. We will look for you in the Marina Times. Did you have any questions for the witness before I excuse the witness from?
No, thank you for the wonderful reviews. We'll be looking for some of those. I did have a question for you, though. You said this TV series was so good about the AI, Mrs. Davis.
Yes, I loved it. It's crazy.
I sought it out, but man, is it bloody, Michael Snyder.
Oh, it's not for children.
Did you watch it
with the kids?
Did you watch it with the kids, Kim?
No.
Okay.
But it was even like for me, I thought, oh my God, what's happening?
Wait a
Kim
minute.
has a childlike quality, Michael, that can't be ruffled if you in the future.
Wait. Kim, you didn't accidentally start streaming Mrs. Psycho, did you?
No, I didn't.
It was Mrs. Davis.
We will, Mrs. Davis. I hope that we'll note the gore in future reviews even more prominently than we perhaps have in the past. He comes and goes on a rainbow. Bye, Michael. Bye-bye. Wow. Michael Snyder, everyone.